You know I want you. You know I want me. You know I want you. You are now entering the world of a movie review. A world full of drama, joy, ridicule, movie spoilers, unpopular opinions, and adult humor for as far as the eye can see. Welcome to an evening at the movies.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to everybody's favorite movie-based podcast. This is An Evening at the Movies. I am your incredibly excited to be here host. And if I'm moving through my intro rather slowly, I'm trying to multitask and make sure everything is good to go on Facebook for the live feed. So it certainly appears that way. If anybody is watching live, feel free to comment and double check and make sure that everything is on the up and up. So, yes, we are here for an evening at the movies. I am very happy to be here. Did I do the stale popcorn and the watered down soda thing yet? Okay. So, obviously, I kind of willy nillied it, but we have to do the whole spiel. Everybody's favorite movie based podcast where we eat the stale popcorn, we drink the watered down sodas, and we discuss all of our favorite movies and why we love them, even if part of the movie that we're discussing, one of the movies that we're discussing, is not very well liked by the person who is joining me for this episode.
Yes.
But
We
we'll
also
get into
have.
that.
Oh, sorry.
I
My
was going to say
my
we'll get
popcorn's
in,
squishmallow.
but we will
Mr.
get in.
Popper. Sorry. Go ahead.
Nice. We will get into the part of one of these two movies that my
Yeah.
co-host doesn't particularly care for, very briefly. But rewatching the movie, I very much got reminded as to why she does not like that portion of the movie.
Well, it is a multifaceted thing of why I don't like it, and it's not just because of what it is, which obviously is already like a red flag for me, but it is a trigger for childhood trauma, which I can briefly discuss, but just I can't watch that part of the movie. Just can't do
I don't necessarily think we need to go into
it.
the whole triggering
Well,
childhood trauma.
no, just it's yeah. Anyway,
We, as your co-host and the co-host who isn't here, by the way, for those of you who don't recognize the voice, we are joined on the episode by the OG co-host herself. Say hello, OG co-host.
hello, OG co-host. It's me, Amanda, and Mr.
It's
Popper.
it's her, Mario. Peaches, 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 peaches.
Yes. I was actually just playing Super Smash Bros. On our new Nintendo Switch, and damn, that game's fun. I've never played it before. Um,
Oh, you
so
mean the Nintendo Switch that George won at a what auction and bid
yeah,
top dollar
300.
for?
I mean, we paid $300, so
Well, that's not
that's not
horrible. I mean, I've
not
priced
far
them
off what
on
it costs us.
Amazon. Yeah, I was gonna say I've priced them on Amazon before.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would spend $300 for it. Well, because one, you know,
I've been wanting
I'm
one
not.
for a while.
Well, they would be nice to have, especially considering like Nico loves to play Mario Kart,
Yeah,
and
me too.
he and I can go back and forth
I'm a
on that.
Nintendo person. Like, we have the Xbox. We still the Xbox One. We have PlayStation 4. But I don't know. I mean, I can play like some games on there. Like I like the like Mortal Kombat style games, which we have one
Mhm.
that's like DC Universe that's really cool.
Oh
But
yes,
other than that, I'm just a Nintendo person. I like Mario. I like Mario Kart. I like Tetris or Dr. Mario, and just I don't know. It's what I grew up with.
well,
So
that's how I was going to respond. Was like we're in that generation where when we were kids, you had either a Nintendo or you had an Atari.
well, we
And
had an Atari.
well,
Yeah,
we had the Atari first, but
right.
then obviously after like 3 or 4 years of Nintendo being out, we
Yeah.
upgraded to a Nintendo. But yeah, I didn't even remotely entertain the idea of anything other than a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64.
We had a
until
Sega Genesis, but I only played Sonic on it. So I do like Sonic too, but
Sonic is Sega's version of Mario, though.
right.
So,
So
but I mean, I don't think I even entertained the idea of anything other than Nintendo though until probably 3 years after the PlayStation 2 came out, and even then, it was only for the fact that I wanted to play Grand Theft Auto.
yeah. I think that's what got me into PlayStation 2. And then we, ended up kept upgrading the PlayStations because it was not only a gaming system, but you could play Blu-rays on it. So, when we got the
Yeah,
PS3, it's like, okay, we don't have to have a separate Blu-ray player. We can play them on the PlayStation and also play games on it. So that was cool.
three birds, one stone.
He probably won't be listening to, actually, I know he won't be. So I am trying to save to buy George a PS5 for Christmas. So we'll see how that goes.
Nice. Christmas is not that far away, so you
I
better
know.
get
I don't know
in.
if I can afford it. Sorry.
That
Anyway.
topic that we were discussing in our network group chat last night, you better hope for a lot of syphilis.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think Dre's ready to make that fully public yet, so I'm kind of sort of hinting around it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, I think we've fooled around long enough with the intro. Are we ready to get into this double
Yes.
feature mashup to wrap up our third annual Stephen King Birthday Bonanza?
Yes. Mr. Popper needs a stand. That's going to have to do.
You have so many fucking plushies that are linked to any one of the freaking 8 freaking podcasts that you
Oh,
have.
yeah. Anytime I can bring a stuffed animal to play, it's like, but
I
he
mean,
wants. I gotta get a stand for them so they can sit next to me and I don't have to hold them. That's gonna be my next investment. Stand up, all right? Because I want them to be in the screen, but I don't want to hold them.
well, well, I can get that because like you've seen the couple of times that I've had like my Freddy Krueger stuffy that I stole slash was gifted from you,
Yeah, Jack gifted it
and
to you because he didn't want it.
I'll sit there and he can sit there on my chest and but at the same time it gets kind of, especially when you're trying to do a live video recording and you got a doll in front of your face and yeah.
Well, and this
So
is a mini squishmallow, but I've got the Vlad squishmallow, which is huge, and then also Steffi and Stay Puffed, which are also very huge, and then this little guy who I still haven't named,
oh
just
my
needs
god.
a stand.
Oh, in honor of Harvey, there are so many penises on the screen right
There's
now.
only one. There's two balls. There's one
Hey,
piece.
one penis on this show is enough. So,
True.
um, so yeah. Uh, so like I said, we're going to put our third annual Stephen King Birthday Bonanza to bed today, and we're going
There
to
we go.
do a double feature mashup because, I mean, usually I just cut one of them out and we'll just do one, but we've only really done two Stephen King movies this month, and I feel like we at least need to get four in.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not complaining by any stretch. Stuff happens, life happens, people get sick. We're glad that you're back to being 97.5% healthy,
Yeah, that's good. That's a good number.
which you need to be because Halloween fucking Horror Fest is literally right. We record episode one tomorrow night,
Oh yeah.
and
Um, I'm I'm always ready for Halloween, so even if I don't feel well.
even if we have to remind you that the movie is called The Monster Squad, not
Nards. He's
Kick Him
got
in the Nards.
nards.
Kick Him in the Nards. Oh, I'm so sure that that joke is going to pop up tomorrow night, at least between two of us.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I honestly forgot. Like,
There's a lot of people that have not seen that movie since I think '87 when it came out.
yeah, I have not seen it since the 90s for sure. So,
B '80s B movie fest nostalgia topic. I saw that movie at the drive-in as a double feature with Masters of the Universe.
Ooh.
So that's how B movie my night was that night.
Okay, but that's amazing because I remember going to see RoboCop at the drive-in and having to sit through House Party first. And I was a little kid. Now, House Party, I love House Party, but when I was like 8 years old, I'm like, this movie's stupid. And then I fell asleep during RoboCop because it
Yeah,
was after 10 o'clock.
well, yeah, because at the end of the day, you're not going to get a lot of the adult humor
No.
from House Party. I mean, House Party was for us as a kid as Friday would be for you know
Yeah.
the next generation after us, where you're not going to get the jokes. So seriously though,
Okay.
we go down this road and we're just about to, you know, so definitely
Get
two
us
movie
get
mashup.
us on track.
We're going yes, back on track. First movie up is the graphic novel slash movie Creepshow.
I got the comic book.
Second movie we're going to discuss. I have two comic books
Nice.
because for one, depending upon where you shop, those are not cheap. It's not like a first edition Backman book with all four freaking novellas in it, but yeah, for some
Oh,
stupid
this
reason,
one was
Creepshow and Cycle of the Werewolf are not fucking cheap.
this one actually, I think it was like $20 on Amazon. And I got it maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm sure it's a reprint or, whatever, but it's still pretty cool.
Well, yeah, there's. I don't think
I
there's
just can't
one
look at the
first
back.
edition, right?
Can't look at the
Yeah,
fifth comic.
there's definitely not any first edition King anything in my library, and I have a pretty complete. I mean, obviously, not everything's 100% hardcover because, like, Creepshow was
Yeah.
only printed in paperback because it's a comic.
Yeah.
But I have the entire library, and yeah, there's no first editions in there.
I have some that are the first releases or the first printings, but not like the not first edition. I think I have a couple of second or third where it's like they're
Mhm.
still from the first. What do they call it? It's still from the first printing, like as in the first
Yeah.
version that came out, but it wasn't like the first batch or
Well,
whatever. You know what I
well,
mean?
yeah, yeah, because like you and I both have Holly, which is his latest release,
Right.
but that's not a traditional quote unquote first edition. It's probably a first release, but yeah, that initial first printing that came off the press that would be the
Right.
true hardcore first edition. Oh, yeah, you got to be in the select few to
Yeah.
get one of those.
One of my shinings is a second or third printing. I had to look up the I what is it? ISBN number or
Hmm.
yeah. So anybody that has books, if you're wondering if you have a valuable book, you can go. It's usually in the front, the ISBN number. You can look it up. There's a database, and it'll tell you what version you have.
Another food for thought. Though, I mean, yeah, literally, if you have questions too, you can also look on. I think Amazon has the ISBN number as well on their listings as well. I mean,
Yeah,
you have to match up.
but
You
there's
know,
literally a website
oh,
for it. So
yeah, definitely. And I didn't even know about this ISBN crap until I was in college and I was trying to buy textbooks for a lot cheaper than the freaking bookstore was selling them.
hmm
Because let's be honest, I don't know what things are like in Oklahoma for college,
oh,
but
they're
textbooks
ridiculous.
and like my biggest pet peeve was like the math teachers that would buy like these big, thick, hardcover math books and order them for us to have. And then the
hmm
next quarter, they'd order a new edition and you'd have to go out and buy another. And they were like $200 for a freaking book.
And then you can't really sell them back because nobody's going to use that book anymore.
Exactly. Because it's, yeah, I'm like, you people have no common courtesy when it comes to the plight of being a college student in today's society.
Yeah.
And
Well,
this is freaking
especially
almost,
now.
yeah, I was gonna say this is, you know, depending upon which attempt I am taking at a college degree, anywhere from 20 to 30 years ago. So, but I digress, and I
Again,
believe the phrase we are looking for is anyway.
your
So
shit.
yes, Creep Show, Cujo. We're mashing it up, and we're calling the episode. This episode we are dedicating to Creep Joe, half
Uh,
creep, half Joe. Put it together. It's like girls and Joey. Put your hands together. I could not get away without the Joey reference, and I hope the one person that is listening right now and watching is DeAndre Robinson, because just for the fact that we just did a Friends reference, that'll totally make his fucking
yeah,
day.
it's like, beautiful girl or a bucket of jam. Put your hands together.
So, but yes. So, Creep Show. What do we want to start out with? Creep Show, or do you want to start out
Yeah.
with Cujo?
Yeah, let's just start with Creepshow.
Let's rip the band-aid off the freaking wound then. Creep Show or Creep Show, not Creep
Yeah.
Show. Uh-huh. Released on May 16th, 1982. It was directed by horror movie directorial icon George A. Romero. Was released by Warner Brothers Studios. Had a $8 million budget with a $21 million box office, and tomato meter. What do you think the score was?
Mm. I'm going to go with 51%.
That's actually a pretty fucking close guess.
I thought I overshot it, but
No, you undershot it by 14%.
oh, wow. Okay.
65%,
Okay. Okay.
which is not really a bad. I've
That's
seen some of the other scores that some of these other movies that are coming up down the road have gotten.
okay.
65 for a King movie is not bad.
Yeah, I mean, let's just go ahead and put this out there, and if anybody can genuinely argue this for me, then I'm willing to listen. This movie is fucking terrible. We like it because it's
It's King.
nostalgic. The effects are great, like Tom Savini. You can't get better than Tom Savini special effects, practical effects, whatever.
No,
George Romero's great. It's got some good Easter eggs of a cast in it, but this movie's stupid. It sucks. But I think it's meant to be that way. So it's very Tales from the Crypt. It's based on the EC comics. So I think it's supposed to be, you know, kitschy. It's
yeah,
supposed to be cheesy. But this is not a good movie, like by most standards. So I think 65% is very generous. That actually surprises me.
I agree, and I actually have a statement in my rating review section that um, my honest to God opinion is that if you're coming into being a wanting to become a King fan, and this is your venture into the Stephen King cinema, I highly recommend you put this movie down
Yeah.
and go find some. There's a wealth of other movies out there that are way better to dip your toe into the Stephen King waters with. Do not try and make Creepshow your first.
No, do not.
I would say don't even attempt Creepshow until you're probably at least 10 or 12 movies into the King universe, because there's so much more stuff out there that I would even bet my co-host will say she thinks The Green Mile is better than Creepshow.
I think The Green Mile is a fantastic movie. That's never the argument. You know it.
I love pitching you shit about that.
It's I can't watch it unless I'm in an emotional cutting scenario, and then there's other movies I would probably watch over that just because I enjoy them more, but The Green Mile is a fantastic movie for sure. It's just a tough
So
watch for
okay,
me.
okay, by the rewatchable meter though, what's more rewatchable, The Green Mile or Creepshow?
I mean, I think The Green Mile. But
So
again, it's based on reasons of rewatchability.
Well,
So,
and like you said in the intro, there's other reasons why, not just the poor quality and all of that, why Creepshow doesn't resonate with you as rewatchable. So, but um, last but not least, before you get a chance to, I have no doubt 90-second beat the clock with this movie because this is a very easy 90-second beat the clock, and you can do all five of them in one part too. But if you're looking to watch Creepshow online, you cannot get it for free. You have to either rent it for $2.99 or buy it for $12.99. So, haha. Um, yeah, unless you're a hardcore fan, you're gonna have to spend some money to see Creepshow. But at the end of the day, you're on mute too, by the way.
shit, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Normally, that's you telling me that I'm on mute. So the fact
I
that I
had to
had to
blow
tell
my
you,
nose and I forgot. I think
Ooga.
you only want it if, I mean, if you like stuff like Tales from the Crypt, like go back and watch Tales from the
Yes.
Crypt and look at the comics and stuff like that. Like, and then that's what you get with Creepshow. But the one thing I will say good that came from this movie is the Creepshow series that came out a couple of years ago. It's really good.
So my thought on that as well. I love the new Creepshow series. I've seen all the freaking episodes that have been released. I own every season on freaking DVD.
Nice.
It is amazing. There are elements of the series that call back to
Mhm.
this movie as well.
Oh yeah.
So definitely hats off to that. Um, and the fact that in probably the last, what, 12, 13 years, whatever, however long it's been, the um, guy who basically put the Creepshow series together is Greg Nicotero, who, for those of you who know,
Yeah.
is a huge part of the team that ran the Walking Dead series. So, well, I mean, he part of Fear the Walking Dead and all the other stuff that came after the
Yeah.
original show wrapped. But Greg
Oh, sorry.
Nicotero is becoming a modern day horror icon that Wes Craven, John Carpenter, George A. Romero, and people like that were back when we were kids. So
Yeah.
definitely thank you to Greg for taking something like Creepshow that may not have been as good when we were kids and upping the ante and turning the volume
Yes.
way up and totally making something that's going to be a lot more memorable going forward.
Sorry, I'm trying to send this to my brother because he's not busy right now and I want him to watch and comment, but he said the link wasn't working. But you made this public, right?
Mhm.
This okay, so I just told him to go search for it. Anyway, I apologize. Yeah, the Creepshow series is definitely great and I would check it out. Again, there's a couple, there's an exterminator one that I did not watch that segment, but for the one with the kids on Halloween, um where you find out that they're ghosts and that they're stalking the people who murdered them, like, each
Oh,
year. Do you remember that one? That one stuck
nope.
with me, that was a really good one. Anyway, okay,
Uh,
are we ready?
So I am ready for you to beat the clock. I know you can do it. I have nothing but faith in you. And
Okay.
we have two people watching. So just a reminder, if either the two of you are watching and have the Facebook open, go ahead and comment so I know that I have everything set up correctly, please.
Yay.
If you would like to help us out. If not, just sit back
Well,
and listen and enjoy.
I told Shanna she needs to share her thoughts on Creepshow because she did not enjoy it, and she watched it for the first time as, a 40-something-year-old adult, so
Yeah, I didn't think about messaging Shan because I know she's at work, but
she is, yeah, but
I almost I had the thought right before we went live that I probably should have messaged her and said, "Hey, if you're not busy when we get to it, do you want to jump in really quick and um, give your reviews?" Because she put in the effort to go out there and watch these two movies, And I
Yes.
understand the fact that we couldn't wait any long. We have to do this because, like, this episode releases tomorrow morning,
Yeah. At least
and
she can give us her review and we can read it because I want to know her thoughts. She didn't really share much other than, I am not enjoying this movie.
again, yeah, again, this is one of again, it. We'll get to it when we get to the
Yeah.
reviews. So definitely, Shan, if you're watching or want to, definitely send one of the two of us or send it in the group chat your thoughts on both movies. Actually, that way your voice can be heard as one of the hosts of the show.
Shanna said she
So
just commented. Can you see it?
no,
Damn it, Casey. What are you doing wrong here?
I don't know. Okay, so I will
You look at
go.
that while I read the synopsis.
You go ahead and do the 90-second beat the clock. I'm going. Evidently, I am not clicking on the right thing. The three dots. Archive, turn off transition, turn off notifications, edit live video, edit audience.
Edit audience
Oh, my bad.
and change it to public. Okay.
I didn't see the. Okay, so
Oh, there they are.
Brandy and Shanna are watching. Brandy said, Shanna said, hello. Um, I like the
Shanna, I
one with Ted
yeah,
Danson.
that's the one I want to talk about the most.
The
Not
rest
your,
were the rest
not
were
your
not my cup of blood. Okay, so 90-second beat the clock.
All right, and I just told my brother try it now, so hopefully he'll jump in. Okay.
It'll work now.
All right, here we go. Creepshow. A compendium of 5 short but terrifying tales, that's debatable, contained within a single full length feature. This film conjures scares from traditional boogeymen and portents of doom. What's a portent?
I have
What's a
no
portent?
idea.
In one story, a monster escapes from its holding cell. Another focuses on a husband with a creative way of getting back at his cheating wife. Other stories show a rural man and a visitor from outer space, and a homeowner with huge bug problems. Blech.
Right.
Brandy
Yeah.
likes the one with meteor shit.
I am not reading Anna's last comment out loud. She is not on the episode. We're not going to go down that road.
Not the
So,
portent.
oh, son of a bitch.
Do you think that meteor shit was organic?
Oh, Jesus. Even when she's not here, I have to deal with it. Okay. So, obviously, you and Shanna both want to discuss the Ted Danson portion of the movie.
Sure.
Probably my, not gonna lie, it's probably my favorite of the five as well.
Mine, yeah.
For me, it's very much because of the part of being ultimately kidnapped and taken out to a beach, put in a hole, and buried alive up to your fucking chin in sand, not being able to fucking move,
Yeah.
and literally having to sit there and watch the fucking tide come in and
Ah! Fuck. Sorry.
slap you in the face.
I For me, it's seeing Leslie Nielsen be a bad guy, I think is what I really like about it. Because you don't get that very much. And he's so smooth. Like when the guy's like, "Don't leave me here." And he's like, "I have to go. The tide's coming in. I don't want to get my shoes wet."
Well, okay, there's still that Leslie Nielsen comic moment, like I don't want to get my shoes wet, but at the same time, definitely this character has absolutely nothing to do with anything that he did in Airplane
Yeah.
or The Naked Gun or
You're boffing my wife. Shanna wanted Leslie Nielsen's 80s yuppie house. It was pretty cool.
well, I mean that nostalgia portion of the movie as well. There's this, like we said, there's nostalgia moments in this movie that are not
Trying to see if there's a picture of it.
bad by any stretch of the imagination.
Um,
But
Oh, and the TV. So you get the where he's watching his lover on the TV in the sand, and he's watching her drown while he's about to drown. Like that's crazy.
That definitely there's a huge psychological element to this portion of the movie as well because yeah, not only do you know that you're about ready to die, but then yet you have to sit there and watch the woman that you love go through the exact same shit, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
It was very Dark Knight Rises.
Yes.
Um, I will say that one did kind of scare me because, again, uh, something I've talked about, and especially on our phobias episode, I have a huge legitimate fear of any kind of asphyxiation. So drowning,
Mhm.
choking, strangling, drowning especially. I have a huge fear of drowning. So I feel like dying any kind of way where you can't breathe and you suffocate to death, that's like my biggest
Mhm.
fear. So that one did
A-
creep me out.
And I will definitely second what Shanna said. Ted stayed way calmer than I would be.
Yeah, he really did.
But
Except
the
for
other
when that
side,
crab came over.
right? I mean, I'd have been fucking breaking shoulders, doing whatever I could to get the hell out of that damn sand when that
Yeah, but
fucking
you
crab came over.
can't.
I know you can't because it's very all encompassing. And wow, no,
Yeah.
thank you.
No.
Not while I'm living. Not while I'm even dead.
Not
So
how I want to go. Oh, yeah, there it's working. My brother's here. Meteor shit. Yes, we are going to get to that one. Stephen King is so ridiculous in that role.
uh,
He plays such a dumb country bumpkin. And yeah, he did kind of end up looking like the Grinch.
um, okay, so definitely, I want to second the comment that your brother made, and I know we brought it up during the Carrie episode, what 2 weeks ago too. But I mean, Stephen King is from Maine. Why did everything Stephen King related have to have main characters with a Alabama accent?
Right? Okay, so here is, if you're watching live, the comic version. So yes, he's very Grinch-like at the end, definitely. Like throw some ears on him and maybe give him a smile, and you got a Grinch. The Grinch. Oh, Shanna.
Oh, even when she's not here, she can totally freaking shock the world and come out of left field.
Not the moist sand.
Oh, all right, so
Okay, so Leslie Nielsen stole the
definitely,
show. Yeah.
definitely Leslie Nielsen stole the show. Um, if I had to pick somebody from the five that kind of, sort of, I felt was underwhelming, it would probably be the author himself.
it
I mean,
it was so annoying that it was hard to watch it.
w- I get this. He's not an actor by any stretch of the imagination, and hats off to all these directors that have developed little Easter egg cameos for him to pop up in all of his different movies. I get that. That's fine. I think my
Right,
favorite
that's cool.
Stephen King cameo it it's a horror movie
But
version of Stan Lee in the Marvel movies.
but this was a whole like long segment. It wasn't just like a hey, here's a I like him as the antique store owner in It Chapter 2. I thought he was really like that was good.
Even better than that, I like him as the freaking ATM guy in Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, yeah.
That
Oh,
was uh
Guma. Yes.
okay. So that comes first, and then that goes after.
Me and Shanna having the same. Oh, yeah. Maximum Overdrive, Chris and I, it was one of our favorite movies growing up. We've seen it so many freaking times.
Well, and I believe you. I don't remember if you discussed it or if that was one of my last solo episodes that I did before we got hardcore into the Casey doesn't do solo episodes anymore.
Yeah. Which Chris, while you're watching, this is off topic and I'll make it quick, but Casey and I were discussing having you back on the show and also Chansey so that we could review Halloween 6, the producer's cut.
Eh. Or not. Don't let my commentary dissuade you in any way. We would definitely love to have you back to discuss
Or whatever, but yeah.
one of the worst Halloween movies of all time.
Yeah, I would say the producer's cut is better than Halloween Resurrection, but it's still down there. But also Chris loves Rob Zombie's Halloween too, so
And there's your answer to the invitation.
but he hated Halloween Ends just like we did.
So I will say this then: your brother has taste, even if our views may not necessarily line up on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Well,
But
Abby loves it too, so there you go. Two of my
I will
family
s-
members.
I will say in defense of your daughter and your brother, after giving Rob Zombie 2 a rewatch, it wasn't as horrible as I remember. It's not it's not in the top half of the greatest Halloween movies though. I
No.
will say that. But
There are definitely parts I liked. I definitely could have done without Michael looking like a yeti, without him talking, and without the white horse shit. Like take those parts out, it's a good movie.
take, take the white horse and put it at the top of that damn list because that is the one.
Yeah.
I like the backstory of Rob's Halloween, but hated his. Thank you. Shanna is a wise old lady.
I did like the thing I did like about that the second one. We are way digressing here, but I liked seeing what happens to Lori immediately after because we never got that in any other Halloween. We get Lori 1 year later just spiraling into chaos because of what happened to her, and that's the only version of Lori like that we get in any of the movies. So I thought that part was good. But anyway,
Well, yeah, because you when you go back to '78, you go from that night, Halloween night, '78 to part two is later that night in 1978,
yeah,
and yeah, then
and
you
and
don't see Lori again until H2O.
and
No,
Brad
not
Dourif
sure.
actually made me cry when
You
Annie died.
do,
So.
yes, you do see her in Halloween 4 in a picture, but you know,
Do you ever wonder how, like, I do this all the time with movies. This is a thing I do when I watch movies and they show pictures of people, especially in the Halloween movies. I'm like, or like in the Scream movies. How did they get that picture of her? Who was just taking a random picture of Lori sitting out there with that pumpkin waiting for Annie to pick her up? Like, I know that they do that stuff to show things in the past, but that is one of my biggest pet peeves in movies is when somebody is looking at a picture and you're like, there's no way that picture could have actually been taken in that moment. I'm an asshole.
I'm
Anyway,
pre- I'm I'm pretty sure my thought has always been because like I remember like TV shows like Growing Pains, where if you watch the opening credits of the show, you have like the whole before they show the like Kirk Cameron today at the time today, you have all the pictures of him growing up from childhood, blah 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 to today. That's probably those pictures are probably taken from the actor's personal
yeah.
photo albums, which I'm sure is probably in some way, shape, or form how the Jamie Lee Curtis picture popped out.
Well, but no, because it's literally a still from the movie, from the original movie that wouldn't have like she should have had like a high school picture of her, like her senior picture or like a school picture or even a family picture of like Lori with her parents, but literally a still from the movie is what that picture is. And it's like nobody would have been taking a picture of her there. And
But
Shanna.
but I will never get why Zombie makes his storytelling so rapey and gross.
Because he
Because
is rapey and gross.
well, I wasn't going to go that far. I was just going to go with the fact Rob is very much into creating movies with shock value.
Yeah.
Halloween, Halloween 2, any one of the three House of a Thousand Corpses movies.
Yeah.
So, and there are other movies to go along with that as well. But back on track we get because
Cause
we're
yeah,
already
we
40 minutes in and we haven't even touched Cujo yet. So he doesn't even like filming that crap, he said, as much, but he thinks it's necessary.
I mean, I agree, and but I just felt like that rape scene in the Halloween one, and it's only in the director's cut. It wasn't in like the TV cut or whatever, but
Mhm.
where the orderlies bring a girl into Michael's room and rape her, and it's just like that. That shit probably does happen in those places, so maybe that's why he did it. But I don't know. I didn't feel like it was necessary to the story. It was just two extra kills for Michael. Like it lent no weight
Yeah.
whatsoever to the rest of the movie other than just to show fucked up shit that happens in mental hospitals. So,
Yeah.
anywho,
I can see what you're.
like if Michael rescued that girl and took her along his journey and she became a character, then okay, let's show that. But at least he let her live.
True. So to keep things moving along, I know we still have a whole nother movie to get to. So, Shannon, go ahead and start typing your thoughts out on the Creep Show as a whole and your rating. Is there anything else that you would definitely 100% like to cover with this before we get to our ultimate review of?
um,
I want to make sure we get a, an ample amount of time to get
yeah.
into Cujo as well because there's some great stuff to discuss in that movie.
I mean,
Nothing against Creepshow, but
the other skits are cute or whatever. I think the meteor one or the one with like the Wolfman was probably my least favorites, although I did not mind when that wife finally got what was coming to her. I loved how he kept fantasizing about how he would murder her, but he never could do it. And then um
mhm.
and the father's who I just like when the guy's like, I want my cake. um
Yeah, that definitely was a hilarious moment from the first part. For those of you listening and not watching on the YouTube, Shanna chimed in with the "I'll spend 15 minutes and skip to the Ted part, and I'd be good to go."
yeah. I
So,
kind of watched a whole movie of that story. Like, first of all, I could have more of Leslie Nielsen as a bad guy. I thought he was amazing. Like, let's do a whole movie where it's Leslie Nielsen and Ted Danson and whoever the wife is, and kind of like that
yeah.
movie Fracture, where he finds out they're sleeping together and he plans their demise, and it's all methodical. But um,
So, for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge fan of people breaking out of their stereotypical type of role and playing a different type of character. If you're the quintessential good guy, to eventually step out and be an insanely evil, maniacal bad guy,
yeah,
or vice versa. So there is that. So, do you have a rating out of five?
yeah, I mean, I think we have to mention real quick the other skit, but not totally talk about it. But they're creeping on you is a super anal. Like this guy's apartment is completely white and sterile, and he is like insanely, and it gets overridden with roaches. And the end of it, I don't even want to say what happens, but it haunted my nightmares for years. And if my brother's still watching, he knows that we grew up in a lot of places that were always infested with roaches, and that is why I can't watch it. It triggers too much childhood trauma for me, and also it's fucking disgusting. Ugh, I feel like something's crawling on me. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Anyway,
lie. That
I could have done without that
so
for real. Yeah.
um,
But I will say
Shan, if
special
you're
effects wise, oh, I was just gonna say I'm not gonna describe it. If you've seen the movie, you know. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But just be warned, it's about lots of bugs. That ending shot of it, I will say, whoever came up with that, it, it was brilliant. It was so creepy and so disgusting, and oh, it was it was shocking. One of the most
uh,
shocking things ever. So,
so evidently your
thank
brother
thank you,
forgot
Chris.
about that scene and now it's not repressed.
Yeah, it's because I don't know about him, but I can't watch that scene. It's still burned in my mind. I don't even have to watch it. I
Well, I mean,
tried to several years ago, and I couldn't watch it again. I've seen it
I
once.
don't necessarily blame you.
Yeah. So,
My thoughts as a whole, and then we'll do our rating.
rating. Yeah.
Shannon, get your number ready. Um, it's a good movie. It's not perfect. It's not overly great. Um, for the most part, the acting sucks, except for a few surprising twists along the way. Overall, if you're a King fan or even a Tales from the Crypt fan or along that line, I'll recommend going and watching it. If you're incredibly casual and all of that, this is probably not going to be your movie because you're literally looking at 5 stories in a matter of 2 hours. That
If you're high though,
oh, if you're high, woo! I was gonna watch a movie, but then I got high.
I need a drunk review of this, like I did of Rubber. I got to start doing my drunk reviews again. That was fun.
I'm not gonna lie. Um, that might need to become a regular, semi-regular segment on one of the shows.
I would like it to be. I've been trying to do it on the Sipless TikTok, but I just keep forgetting about it because it is an ordeal. Like because you have to record and you have to stop, and it kind of messes with the flow of the movie a little bit. But it's still fun. So
Yeah.
I've done what did I did Rubber and I did Nightmare on Elm Street 5. So yeah.
Ye- And Nightmare on Elm Street 5 was not even the worst one that you could have done a drunk review of either.
In my opinion, it is because I think New Nightmare is better than 5, and there's no fucking way I'm watching that 2010 horse shit remake. So,
Well, no, what I mean though, I mean like there are movies that are probably more easily acceptable to do a drunk review of in
oh,
the
okay. I thought
franchise.
okay.
Not naming any names. Freddy's Revenge, but
Oh yeah. Okay, I could do Freddy's Revenge. I could. I would still rather watch that than the remake.
oh, I will watch any of the 7 movies in the franchise 1,000 times over before I watch
Yeah,
that 2010 garbage. And Shanna says, and I quote, "I'll do a gummy induced review with Amanda's drunk review."
that would be great. We should do it together.
I'm not gonna lie, with my shoulder issue, I'm very much thinking about attempting a gummy medication
You should
therapy. And if that's the case, because I have a goddaughter who works in a freaking pot shop across town,
It's
and
called a dispensary.
it's not a dispensary; it's a pot shop. Other places in the world, like Iowa, where and Texas, where shit's not fucking legal because they're so fucking right wing.
They're called dispensaries in Vegas.
Well, fucking Vegas is stupid.
She
Shanna
does
has a
have a
coupon.
coupon.
So, all right, numbers,
All right. I'm
numbers, so we
ready.
can move on to Cujo. Shanna, your number. Type it into the comments, please. Amanda,
Okay, so like I said at the beginning with the preface, this is not a good movie by movie standards. It's shit. Um, it is nostalgic and fun, especially if you grew up watching Tales from the Crypt or you watch the old Tales from the Crypt. It's very much like that. Well, actually, our Tales from the Crypt came after this movie, but anyway, not the point.
true.
The effects are good. I love Tom Savini. I'll always watch stuff that he does. But being practical, I'm going to give it 2.9 out of 5 pieces of meteor shit.
Gooma like a motherfucker. Because okay, so um,
Shanna.
I'm going. Shanna's number is going to come last because I want to say this because we have not had Gooma moments a lot lately, but I have it written in my notes. 2.9 out of 5.
Nice. Was it
And
pieces of meteor shit?
no, I
Yeah.
didn't even have the effort to come up with something other than just 2.9 out of 5. You know how much I love King, and
Yeah.
it
Same.
Creepshow is one of those that you have to be in the right frame of mind to get
Oh,
through
absolutely.
it. Otherwise, it's going to be a
AKA
labor to
drunk.
get through it. Drunk, high,
Hi.
whatever. And to reveal Shanna's number, we have 2 out of 5 sand crabs.
Not the sand crabs.
Oh, Jesus. All right. So, Creepshow behind us. And God, we're almost an hour into the freaking episode.
Yeah, we gotta start
We're
rocking this.
we're gonna get focused really fucking quick.
So we
So,
say.
Shanna, forewarning, start putting your Cujo thoughts together so that when we get to the review, you can drop your stuff and be ready to go.
Also, for anybody who hasn't read Cujo and wants to, there will be spoilers from the book because I will be talking about them in comparison to the movie. So just be prepared. Be prepared. From Lion King.
Yeah, no, that yeah. Um, that's one of those. I don't want to say it because I don't want to fucking spoil it.
Well, I
But
think we have to.
there's a huge difference
Yeah.
in the movie and the book, and I think before we get to that,
Well, yeah.
we need to earmuff Shanna left and right because
Well, Shanna, are you going to read the book? Like, just tell us, because if you
Jessica,
are, then I
I'm
will not.
I'm
I won't
I'm
spoil it.
I'm putting it on her Tay Tay list.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
So,
Cujo.
all right. So, Cujo, all the information on the IABS.
Told
Okay,
you she's not going to read
fine.
that.
I
Actually,
won't put it on her.
Shanna, the thing I will tell you about Cujo, this was the and this isn't a spoiler. This is more of a why you should read the book versus just watching the movie. You feel bad for Cujo in the book because you get I don't want to say well you do actually. You kind of get Cujo's point of view. Like
Mhm.
I don't want to be like there's dialogue for the dog, but like you get that the dog
That's all right.
doesn't understand what's happening to him and well, but I'm saying you'll feel more bad for him in the book because they really just he really describes how Cujo is such a good boy. He's such a good dog and he just doesn't understand what's happening to him, which is what happens with rabies. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
So
Well, we'll get to that,
maybe
but
don't read it, you'll cry. I did.
yeah, and that was a very good way of putting it too, especially without giving away that ending, just in case she
Yeah.
happens to change her mind. And
We'll spoiler alert it again before we say it, so it's fine. Go ahead.
so she can definitely earmuff. But Cujo released on August 12th, 1983. It was directed by Louis Teague, was distributed by Warner Brothers again, had a budget of $6 million and a box office of $21.2 million. Uh, Rotten Tomato score,
Um,
tomato meter, and
I'm gonna go with 72%.
wrong. Not even close.
Like way under?
Oh no,
You're
you're
oh,
way over.
that's what I'm saying. Okay, you're telling me that Creepshow got 65% on Rotten Tomatoes and Cujo got less than that?
Not by much, but it
Wow.
got a lower score on Rotten Tomatoes. So normally I get to do this when I'm recording with Dre, but Amanda, what do we say about Rotten Tomatoes in the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network?
Fuck Rotten Tomatoes. Y'all are stupid. I'm gonna
Egg.
create my own tomato meter and call it something way cooler than Rotten Tomatoes and actually get shit right. 'Cause you guys are stupid.
Yeah, we definitely need to come up with our own version of freaking Rotten Tomatoes because this shit is bullshit. Because like when we did the rankings for the Stephen King tournament last year, there was some great movies that were at the top of that list, but there was also some other great movies that were way further down and ended up getting horrible
Yeah.
matchups in the first round because and got eliminated because of horrible first round matchups.
Fucking Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, can we read Shanna's
Uh,
comment? Because I want to say something about it. Shanna
so I'm
says,
not here to victim shame his owners because they got ripped apart by Cujo, but for goodness sake, this could have prevented this could have been prevented with proper and timely veterinary care and vaccinations.
Shanna, I will absolutely victim shame those owners because they were shit dog owners. They didn't even like Cujo, except for the little boy. I felt bad for the kid. But the dad was an asshole, and I was glad when Cujo ate him. And yes, Cujo could have been
Yeah,
saved. Justice for Cujo. Damn it.
I mean,
Poor baby.
I've read the book, I've seen the movie, I've listened to Tim and Dewey interview Dee Wallace about it,
Yes.
and again, great episode of The Overlook. If you are looking to venture into the world of The Overlook, I highly recommend that interview as well as the Steven Weber interview that we briefly talked about last week as well. So I was being sarcastic about not victim shaming, lol.
And Chris, if you're still watching, he just met D Wallace as well. So
Why did everybody gets to meet Dee Wallace? I don't get to meet Dee Wallace. Dewey gets freaking parenting shamed by Dee Wallace live on The Overlook. Your brother gets to meet Dee Wallace. I don't get to meet Dee Wallace.
you
I mean,
gotta start going to some horror cons.
you will. I need money for that. Those things are fucking cheap. So,
True,
all
true.
right. So, Rotten Tomato meter was 59% for Cujo.
That's ridiculous.
It's horrible, and like Amanda said, fuck Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Also, if you are looking to stream Cujo, it is currently on the Max, or you can be frivolous with your money and spend $2.99 and rent it, or $12.99 and buy it. So, are you ready to beat the clock?
I am.
Alrighty, the floor is yours.
All right. In this tale of a killer canine, man's best friend turns into his worst enemy. When sweet St. Bernard Cujo is bitten by a bat, he starts behaving oddly and becomes very aggressive. As Cujo morphs into a dangerous beast, he goes on a rampage in his small town. Stay at home mom Donna gets caught in Cujo's crosshairs on a fateful errand with her son Tad. Stuck in their tiny car, Donna and Tad have a frightening showdown with the crazed animal.
That is probably one of the most horrific parts of the entire movie, but we'll get to
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
And unless you know somebody who has them all, I believe maybe that might be a reference to the fact that Brandy knows somebody named Casey B, who currently owns every Stephen King movie ever made, except for like two or three. And I'm talking like this is the obscure like dollar baby shit that I don't own. So
Mhm.
like most of your mainstream stuff, I believe I have a copy of. And
Nice.
yes, Cujo is one of them. And Shanna Cujo is having the best time chasing the rabbit.
Yes. And I
He
think
really,
that's
he was like frolicking in the meadow.
yeah, and that's why I mean I don't know specifically why Stephen King chose a Saint Bernard. I'm sure he had some cryptic reason behind it, but for me, I think it being a Saint Bernard is symbolic because Saint Bernards are big softies. They're big teddy bears. They're sweet, sweet, just gigantic, beautiful dogs. So
Mhm.
they can be terrifying if they have to be, which was what happens with Cujo, but ideally, if it had been a pit bull, nobody would have felt sorry for it, which again is stupid because there's
Yeah,
anyway, we won't go down that rabbit hole, rabbit hole, but
yeah, no, I definitely
you don't
pit
expect
bulls.
to be scared of a Saint Bernard until Cujo came out.
No, because a lot of people's first recollection of Saint Bernards is like Call of the Wild with the big barrel of bourbon or whatever underneath. The
No, mine's
twin,
Cujo. Hopefully
but
for most people now it's Beethoven. I was glad they
Beethoven,
resurrected the Saint
Beethoven
Bernard.
Call of the Wild, fine. But if your first memory of Saint Bernard's is Cujo,
Mine absolutely is.
you are in for a horrific experience.
I think Cujo did for Saint Bernard's what Jaws did for the ocean for a
Oh
while.
my God, are you ripping the Band-Aid off right now? And we're about to ready to Guma all over the fucking place.
Oh, did you say that too? Sorry.
Literally, I have it written in my review, and I was literally
Sorry.
seconds. No, 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 not offended, upset at all. It definitely is one of those where, yeah, Cujo did for dogs what Jaws did for swimming in the ocean.
Yeah.
So the fact that we were in sync enough to have that thought and almost that literally have it coming out of our mouths at the same time. Wow,
That's funny.
we have not had a Guma moment like that in a long time.
Oh,
So
Cujo just chasing
uh,
those bunnies and then gets bit by a bat. Okay.
so I did come up with a, especially from the beginning of the movie, a question that kind of sort of might be kind of a hot button topic, but
Okay.
um, for those of you who have seen the movie, you know that Dee Wallace and her husband in the movie, Donna and um,
Tr-
what's his face?
Joe. No, Joe's the mechanic.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I just know their last name's Trenton. I have I haven't watched the movie in a while.
Vic. Vic and Donna are having marital issues.
Because she's
Donna is
fucking someone else.
well. I was gonna say she's fucking family friend Steve, and they both know that there's a hitch in their giddy up, and they acknowledge that. Like, there's even a moment where, um, okay, before I finish my statement, your brother Cujo never ruined Saint Bernard's for me. Rabies could not. Rabies could do that to any dog, and I've always kept that in mind.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Shanna, I didn't know she was so fucky.
She is. Hey,
Very, very, very much so.
even
I'm
in Rob
going to.
Zombie's Halloween, sorry, she is talking to her husband about, I'm gonna give you some lovin' after we talk about the vacation. Dee Wallace is
Yeah,
she's a sexual being.
not in ET though.
Well, we not that we saw, but she was a single mom. I bet she was getting hers. At least I hope so with all those boys having to deal
Well,
with.
yeah, because the only other female that you ever see in her life is little Drew Barrymore,
Mhm.
and that's just wrong. We're not going down that rabbit hole. So,
All right, back to your question.
so back to my question. So they're sitting around the table and having this conversation, mind you, in front of their little child, which is very creepy in my mind anyway. But Vic makes the comment about having another baby as a way to fix their marriage.
Ugh.
Is that okay? And everybody, in your opinion, is that a valid and respectful way to try and fix your marriage, or is that just kind of a let's create
Abs-
some drama and throw out something stupid?
I don't think it. So, is that a reasonable thing to do? Absolutely not. Like all that's going to do is make your marriage 10 times worse. But it is a thing that I think sometimes people, and you see that in movies. That's a trope that you see in movies. But I think, or shows, because it's I've seen it several times. But I think maybe it's a thing that people do because they think a baby is a distraction, but all it does is really. I think people who say they want to do that are doing it because they don't want to work on their marriage. So if we have a baby, that's more time that we're not spending together hating each other. It's more time that we're spending focusing on another kid. Thank you, Shanna.
We have to focus.
See?
So okay, so we're running behind on the comments because these last few came in rapidly. So flipping back over to the other topic really quick. Um, she was behind the scenes a freak. I'm taking it that's the ET reference.
No, D
Um,
Wallace, I think.
yeah, the D Wallace
Oh
in
yeah.
ET.
Okay, sorry.
Um, The next comment, fuck no. I'm guessing is a reference to is that a way of properly fixing a marriage?
Yeah, no.
Brandy, nope, doesn't work. And Shanna, it just puts the focus on something else.
Which is what
Exactly
I was
my
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly what we were talking about because you put a baby into the mix and definitely somebody has to focus their attention. That baby has needs that need to be met on a very you and Shanna both and Brandy have had children. I can't say I have, so I have no idea. I've been an uncle and I know how much children take of your attention. But as mothers, you guys definitely know for 100%.
All the attention, all the energy, all the
So
body parts.
exactly. So you guys can attest to the fact that yeah, that would probably definitely take the attention away from the broken marriage and put it almost 100% on the child because mothers tend to be more, not all the time, I will say that. So please don't think I'm saying all mothers are saints because I acknowledge the fact that there are horrible mothers out there as well. And there are great dads out there. It's not
Yeah.
always one sided, it can go the other way too. But generally, in general, most mothers are the nurturers in the family. And they would be more likely to turn their attention away from the broken marriage and focus it 100% on the child.
Yeah.
So
It's a
your
distraction.
brother says D climbed up on the table at HorrorCon and did the come hither photo pose. She did to get her first job. Then she kept saying to have. Uh, the memories that get created at the horror cons.
I'm mad I didn't get to meet Dee Wallace. She wasn't
You
at the
got to
one I
meet
went to.
you got to meet half asleep John Carpenter and uh, Linda.
Yeah, I did.
So and you got pictures.
I did. Yes.
So
Uh,
okay. So yeah,
and he
definitely.
also met David Harris and Scout Taylor Compton or whatever, which those 2 have a podcast together, and I really wanna check it out.
I have checked it out. It is fucking amazing. If you are a
Okay.
horror fan, I highly recommend it. Fuck Mick Garris's fucking podcast, and Tim Arnold will second that.
Yeah,
We do
fuck
not
McGarris.
we do not support the Mick Garris on an evening at the movies or the Overlook. Fuck you for not freaking coming on and doing an interview on the Overlook during the pandemic. You very easily could have given our boys 30 minutes of time to talk about your work.
Hey, they got Dee Wallace and Steven Weber, they're winning.
Yeah, they did, and didn't actually get fucking charged or offered to be come on the show and then be charged for it. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. I'm not naming any names. If you know, you know. But definitely coming from the experts here at an evening at the movies, being myself, Amanda, Shanna, Brandy, and Chris, don't freaking try and fix your marriage by going out and having a baby.
Yeah.
Not highly recommended. 5 out of 5 dentists do not approve
Yeah.
this message. So, um, I don't. The practical effects in this movie are incredible, in my opinion, because um, you watch this movie on TV or on your computer or however you're watching it, and it feels like you're in like 110-degree fucking
Mhm.
sweltering drought type weather.
You're sweating watching them in that car as they're sweating and getting dehydrated and, like, yeah.
Exactly. Flip it around to the other side of the equation, though. When this movie was filmed in Northern California, I don't remember what the exact number was, but there was a extreme cold front coming through where I believe the temperatures were in the low 40s, upper 30s.
Ooh.
So, and for them to be outside in that weather with as little clothing on as there
Yeah.
was. I know this topic actually was brought up in the Overlook interview with Dee Wallace because Tim and Dewey actually both gave her a lot of credit for the performance that she gave in that situation where literally, as nightmarish as you would think the heat was, the cold of that environment at the time was probably almost just as nightmarish. And to have to pull that off and do it so incredibly well,
I think when
chef.
you're acting, I mean, I definitely agree, but I think when you're acting and you're exerting all of your mental and emotional energy into because this performance by both her and Danny Pinataro, that kid
Yeah,
from Who's the Boss, uh, first of all, that kid was pretty amazing. I mean, he was a whiny little brat, but also that's how a kid would be in that situation. I think that a lot of all of that would give you enough adrenaline and just physical body heat to get through it versus if it had been 110 degrees having to do that, it would have been more realistic, but also I thought it looked pretty realistic anyway, but it might have been more harmful to their bodies. So I'm glad it wasn't actually like that for them because I
yeah,
think it would have made it worse.
definitely. Uh, you and I briefly talked about this before we went live when I was bringing up the fact that I was finishing my rewatch of the movie before we recorded. And literally, I was about halfway through the movie, which is actually about the point where they show up at uh, Joe's house, who is the mechanic that works on cars, and they have the beginning of their encounter with Cujo.
Yeah.
And oh my god, the performance that they gave the first time that the dog freaking showed up and tried to climb through the kid's freaking window in the front seat. And by the way, nowadays, kids at that age would not be sitting in the front seat of a
Oh
freaking
no,
car.
not at all.
You have to be in the back seat, strapped into a booster seat, whatever. We did not need booster seats as kids. We freaking free roamed all over the car while the car was driving,
Okay, but
whatever.
we lived to tell about it. Some kids probably did not, which is why those things exist.
True. So, but definitely the performances that Dee and Danny gave in that scene. Not that the rest of the movie wasn't done and performed really well, but the screaming and the
Mhm.
fear in their face as that dog is coming through, trying to come through the window,
This movie scared the
and then
shit out of
and
me.
then flipping around and coming the other side. And your brother says, "Facts. I love to ride in the truck bed too."
Oh, we did a
I
lot of that.
So many times I rode in the freaking bed of a truck. I have lost hats off of my head before riding in the back of a truck. When you hit the bump and you get bounced off of the bed of the truck, and you get thrown up so high that the wind catches the bill underneath the bill of your hat, and it goes flying, and it's like, oh well, thank God that was a Walmart special.
You know what I want to know is do you think this movie boosted sales for the Ford Pinto? Cuz that car took a fucking beating and kept on ticking.
Right? I mean, at the end of the day, the Ford Pinto is probably one of the most ridiculed cars in the history of automotive,
So ugly.
other than the Edsel. Those are
Yeah.
probably number one and number two for biggest jalopies in the history of cars. Um, I don't know if it boosted sales because
You would hope so.
59% of people didn't seem to care for this. Only 59% of people seem to care for this movie. So 41% of people did not.
Well, they can fuck right off.
Right?
I
So
definitely think that go kind of back to the performances that Dee Wallace, her desperation in this movie was so palpable. Like as a, I mean, as a kid, it scared me, but especially as a mother, like you can feel it, like this desperation of like how the fuck. And they try to get out. They try to do it, like, and it's like, what are
so
you gonna do?
your brother's fun fact of the
Oh.
moment. Random thought: after that door window shattered but didn't fall apart, he could have gotten through in very easily. Just saying. Which,
But then the
yeah,
movie would have been over.
and you still would have had probably a good 15 minutes of running time. It'd be like, well, what the hell are we supposed to do now?
Yeah.
So, um, definitely, I want to hats off the performance of Dee Wallace though, because I think where you were going with this, definitely she gave a really good performance as to the amount of fight that
Mhm.
a mother can find deep in her soul if not only herself but her child is in complete and utter danger.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, that dog was not letting them get anywhere
No.
near getting out of that fucking car.
Yeah. And so how long are they there? Like
A
for
couple of days.
48
They,
hours maybe?
I
Like
would, I would say probably 48 to 50-ish hours.
yeah, I mean it's 2 days and, when the kid finally starts having his meltdown and she starts freaking out too, like that whole scene was amazing, like just how,
Yeah,
you know, they filmed that and just I don't know, the emotion in this movie is top notch. Um,
yeah. I think
but then she gets
we're
to
we're
kill Cujo. Poor
we're
baby.
gonna get to hear really quickly our thoughts and review of the movie.
Yeah.
Um, Jeremy, has Shanna seen who?
Him who?
Yes,
Not
exactly.
him. Um,
Lord. Um,
is it
yeah.
time to discuss the different endings? Should we give another huge ass spoiler alert?
Um,
Because I think before we review, we need to discuss the
yeah.
movie ending
I
versus the
think.
book ending.
Okay, so I know you said spoil away, Shan, but um,
If you haven't read
if
the book and you
there,
want to, stop listening.
if even if there is a remote, minuscule 1% chance that you might be convinced to read the book, I highly recommend sticking your fingers in your ears right now and not listening to the stuff that we're about ready to say.
And you can
So,
definitely still
with all
read the
that
book.
said,
Just understand that the movie and the book have completely different endings, and you may not enjoy
y-
one of them.
here's the movie. Here's the movie ending, and here is the freaking book ending. Total fucking opposites of each other. This is the very definition of the word opposite. I would just say that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
your brother says they usually do. It's cool.
All right. Well, so the dog still
Oh,
dies
okay.
because
Spoiler
it's got
alert.
rabies.
Five, four, three, two, one. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, the dog still dies. I mean, Cujo still dies. You can't when a dog's got rabies and it's advanced that much. There's no saving them. So vaccinate your pets, people. God damn it. Um. So
Vaccinate
much.
or we'll sick Shan on you.
Yes. M- Most of it is similar, the same, but the main difference is that in the book, Tad does not survive. So
Bingo.
just so that's what makes the book so much more emotionally challenging is that again, like I said earlier, you very much feel more empathy for the dog because if if you know pets or you're a pet owner or just whatever, you know that you already feel sorry for Cujo because he's got rabies. It's not his fault, but
Mhm.
he's so terrifying that you kind of forget. But in the book, like I said, you definitely get more of like this dog's like, what the fuck's happening to me? But the
Yeah.
fact that you go through all of that struggle and Tad dies, that was like a I wanted to throw the book across the room. I was so pissed. But it does make sense. Like that level of dehydration and all of that, like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it sucks.
Well, and okay, so I mean, this is early in King's publications. We're street racing outside Amanda's house again.
Yeah. The high school kids are
But
out.
so, like I was saying, this is very early in King's publications. I don't remember which book number it is, but obviously it's One, two, three.
3 or 4, 5. It's early.
I think it's the fifth movie,
It's all cocaine
so
induced.
it's got to be in that first seven-ish book window. So he's deep, deep, deep rooted in the cocaine and the alcohol
Oh
right now.
yeah.
But the one thing that is very typical of his work is the ending of this book. He is notorious for leading you through a perfectly orchestrated story and then kicking you in the nards. Spoiler alert for tomorrow night, and giving you a fucked up, twisted ending at the end of the end of the damn book. Doesn't matter if it's a 300-page book or if it's a freaking 2,700-page book like The Stand or It or something along that line. You're gonna get a fucked up, twisted ending at the end of it, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Looks like Cujo was 8. So,
Really,
yeah.
I was close.
Yeah.
Let's see. That makes sense watching it. I don't understand how he did survive the heat as a child.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 days in a car with no water, no food, both of them
You're sweating.
completely would. Oh yeah, you by the end of that movie and the book period, you both of them would be severely depleted. I don't see how even um, Donna could have had
Yeah.
the strength to put up any kind of a fight against that dog at
Yeah.
any point after that first day.
Well, she got lucky with that baseball bat.
True. Luckily, the kid didn't put his toys away before he disappeared off with his mom, who won the fucking $500 lottery.
Yeah. There's a handful of books where the ending is so much different from the book, and it's like, okay, I'm glad they did the movie this way because in the 80s you couldn't kill little kids. Like it was just kind of an unspoken rule. If it's a
Mhm.
horror movie, the little kids have to live. Um but in the book obviously it makes a little bit more sense. But like this one, um another one, if anybody wants to check it out, completely different ending from the movie that will make you want to throw shit across the room. My Sister's Keeper, not a horror thing, but
Oh my god. Shanna out of fucking left field again. Ta da, dead. Was she not, has she not heard of soccer players in the Alps?
who was
Spoiler
she?
alert
You were to eat
for
her own
Alive.
kid?
Well, I
Uh,
mean,
they didn't even
you
have
do,
any urine to drink.
you do what you got. Even then, you still have to boil the urine before you can consume it.
No, people consume it without doing that if they.
I am not,
It's already sterile.
not while I'm freaking living, not while I'm, I don't care if it's
Would you
sterilized, unsterilized.
would you
I am
drink
not
your own
drinking
piss or
fucking
would you
urine.
die?
I would die.
Okay, fair enough.
I
Not Shanna. Survival is survival.
definitely there. And your brother
Oh,
alive, alive. Haha, good one.
that was a good movie.
Um, so
Donner Party, anybody?
right. I mean, it wasn't alive. Wasn't directly the Donner Party, but it was.
No, it
It,
wasn't. It was completely
it,
different, but
it was an international fucking Donner Party.
yeah.
So, um,
Okay, Shanna's next comment. James
okay,
Franco
hold on.
hacked off his own arm with a rusty pocket knife. I couldn't have done that. I 127
No.
hours. There's no way I don't think I could cut off my own limb. Like
Yeah, well, James Franco also fucking dated Amber Heard, so to each their own.
Dr. in Johnny Depp's bed.
Exactly. So on that note, I think we have had a good discussion. Is there anything else about the movie that we need to bring up? Because we probably need to get to a review and rating
Yes,
here really quickly since we're almost an hour and a half in.
we do, and let's do that. But I need clarification first on Chris's comment.
I've been to the spot where he did that.
Do you mean the spot where the guy hacked off his own arm, or the spot where James Franco fucked Amber Heard? I know he means the arm spot. I just wanted to make that joke.
That actually was a freaking hilarious. I was gonna go with he climbed the Alps and went to the freaking alive spot where the plane crashed. I'd probably try to lure an animal like Snow White and then turn into. Oh my god, Shanna out of
Uh,
left field never ceases to amaze us. Hacked off his arm, lol.
okay, that's what I figured, but you never know.
So,
Okay,
uh,
so
all right. So
Shanna's.
Shanna, start typing your review so we get your thoughts on the Cujo.
So I really like this movie. Like I said, it terrified me. I do think that it is a slow burn. The movie itself in the beginning, if you're, especially younger,
Mhm.
it's kind of boring. Um, but all the story is I think it is important because, the husband's out of town, he can't get a hold of them, he comes back, and, it's like in the book they definitely would have gotten divorced. She fucked her ex-boyfriend from high school and their kid died. Bye. But I think the movie version, you think that their family is going to reconcile and kind of realize how precious life is, yada yada
Yeah.
yada. The performances are great, the emotion, everything. Dee Wallace, fantastic job. Um, Poor Cujo, that poor doggy. Uh, I really, the other thing I want to say is I really like the part when she does finally kill him. It, it's to me when I watch that when she stabs him with the broken baseball bat and he's on top of her and he just collapses on her. I
Uh,
was like you could feel that weight on you when you watched it.
yeah.
Like I could imagine that heavy, furry, bloody dog just like laying on top of me, and it was so sad and just Oh, and fun fact, the dogs they used for the movie were so happy they had to like tape or like somehow do something with their tails because they couldn't stop wagging their tails. And so it was like, okay, well they can't be all happy when they're trying to be evil, but um I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 durable Ford Pintos. Oh, can't hear you, Casey.
Now,
Yeah.
okay. So really quick before I get into my review, and not to bring up a sore subject, but I think the whole excited happy dog thing was also part of the reason why they attempted the human in a dog suit behind the scene thing
Mm,
because then you can control that situation a little bit better than you can
yeah.
control a pet's behavior. Well, I
For
mean,
real.
you can control a pet's behavior, but at the end of the day, it's a lot more difficult than just putting a human in a suit like that. So,
Plus, they borrowed it from The Shining.
exactly. Well, I mean, The Shining is a great horror movie. Terrible Stephen King adaptation. If you need to know more, tune into last week's episode of An Evening at the Movies, and you'll hear lots of discussion on that topic.
Yes.
Coming from your other co-host as well, I enjoyed it. Okay, well, I put it up on the screen so everybody can see it and read along with me. I enjoyed it. It was so sad because I'm an animal lover, not a cat fan, so I can't wait to read the. Jesus Christ, Shanna!
Shannon does not care if the kid lives. She only wants to know if the animals live, which I'm with you. I want to know if the animals live or
Oh,
die, but
uh, hashtag do not tune into not the next episode, but the episode after of Literature Reapers. Shanna's rating is 4 out of 5 extramarital affairs.
not the
And,
affairs.
and Larry can't be controlled, lol, not ever, even if there was a fire.
Yeah, but he can be scooped up. He's like this big. Kind of like Jack.
True.
He can kind of be actually Jack can be controlled. He's a very good boy, but also you can just scoop him up.
So your brother says I give the movie a 4 out of 5. After meeting her, it went to 4.5 out of 5 rabies shots.
Yes. This is
And Shannon, he's 25 pounds.
No, he isn't. There
There is
is no
no.
way Larry's 25 pounds.
I need to see his vet file, Shannon, because there is no way in hell that dog is 25 pounds.
He's smaller than Jack, and Jack weighs 10 pounds.
We love Larry to death,
Wow,
but
okay. Maybe he's not smaller than Jack. He just doesn't have any hair. Okay. All right. Well,
we will believe you skeptically, but you are the one that lives with Larry on in person basis.
he's half beetle.
Larry's half.
Okay,
That
well,
would
he's bigger than he looks. That's all I'll say. But
just we've seen pictures and he does not look that big in the pictures.
to be fair, every picture we get of him is he's curled up in a ball in a blanket. So,
He looks like a little teacup doggy.
yeah. No, Chris, none of us have met Dee. Only you. You're special. But yeah, I saw your pictures. She is like toothpick tiny. Uh, I don't know
All
what
right,
EEG means.
electro
Well, I know what that
echocardiogram.
that's what she meant.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Uh,
Um, so my
no,
thoughts is that I thought you had actually.
no. My our friends Tim and Dewey did on their podcast, not in real life, but on the podcast. But I haven't actually met her. No,
I would
I'd
fucking
love
love
to.
to because E.T. was like one of my first movies that I ever saw in the movie
Hmm.
theater, and to this day, I don't care. The end of the movie, I still cry every at the end of the movie when
Oh, me too.
spoiler alert when E.T. quote unquote dies before he comes. Oh,
Oh no, I was thinking the very end. I'll
well that
be
that too,
right here.
that too. So we're not going to shame other podcast hosts on an evening at the movies, but Amanda knows exactly who this is directed to when I say it. Fuck you.
Yes. Oh, I'll say it out loud. Fuck you, Freddy. E.T.'s a
I
fantastic movie. Get fucked.
I was cracking the door open so that you could kick it open like a fucking badass that you are. So my thoughts definitely. Cujo is a great movie. It very simplistically um, done, and I don't think it needs to be overdone with CGI and special effects and all that.
Yeah.
The simplicity of the way this movie is done incredibly works for this movie. The fact that, like we discussed earlier, you can be in 30, 40-degree weather and still have it come across on the scene, on the TV, on the screen, as you're in 100, 110-degree sweltering heat.
Yeah.
Wow. Hats off to Dee and Danny for their performance as well. For the most part, they are the two people who steal the movie
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I mean there is Cujo as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cujo does an amazing job as well,
Poor baby.
but the rest of the people in the movie, there isn't really a whole lot for them to do because once you get to them arriving at the mechanic's house, that's all basically. How are we humoring you?
Or how do you want us to humor you?
I'm
Not
not
the
going down that
humoring.
road. I'm not going down that road. Because that's opening a whole big can
I'll
worms
make sure I
open
do it
all
organically.
over. We locked Tad and Danny in a cage. Which one?
Tad and Danny are the same person.
No,
Wait,
I
no.
think she's talking about
Oh,
Danny
Danny Torrance. Oh,
Texas Death
Danny, he
Match.
shines. Danny's got the intellectual and psychic advantage, and Tad's a whiny little bitch. I'm just kidding.
Exactly. So, um, I'm gonna go 4 broken baseball bats out of 5.
No.
So definitely a great movie. If you love King horror, this is a movie I highly recommend you go out and see. So
It's very realistic. It's not the supernatural horror like he does sometimes. It's kind of like Misery. It's way more realistic.
Yeah, and definitely the movie is so well done that I agree with Chris's sentiment here. I didn't realize a man was
I
the
didn't either.
dog a lot of the time until decades later. They did a very good job with the
Yeah,
effects and angles and shooting and all of that. So
definitely.
definitely hats off to Louis Teague on that one. And Shanna, what? Okay, what about D and Mrs.
Ooh.
Torrance? Okay, ain't
That
nobody in hell losing to D Wallet or losing to Wendy Torrance in a freaking Texas Deathmatch steel cage match.
I mean, she had to endure, you know, 48 straight hours of Stanley Kubrick's torture, so I think
What
what
if
if
it
it
were
were
a tag team match?
again, I think
Oh
Danny
my
takes
god!
it all. This
All
needs to
right,
be a draft topic.
I
Who
think
would win fictional character fights?
moms versus the kids tag team match.
I still think Danny's got it. He's got the supernatural advantage. I mean,
This is definitely a topic that needs to be discussed further in depth. And with the
later.
fact that we're sitting on an hour and 40 minutes right now,
I have to pee.
uh, I'm very much aware that you probably have. Normally, we don't get much past an hour before you have to pee again. So, um, but yeah, definitely check out the movie if you love King horror. This is quintessential great King horror, and I promise you, we will be getting back to more great King horror coming up here rather quickly with our next couple King movies that we talk about because we've got Christine coming up and Firestarter and some other great movies. So definitely check those out. Really? Okay. What about any of them versus the Whitey Pitch Franklin? Oh my God. Oh,
Ah, shit. I
if
mean,
only Chancey Grife was here to chime in. We need to have everybody on this freaking discussion. Your brother, Shanna, you, me, Chance, everybody,
all
because
the horror topics. Shit.
I
Yeah,
I would
Franklin
hit
was a little
Franklin with
bitch.
my own car. And Tanya, I love Firestarter. It's a great book. It is a great movie. Uh, Probably one of my top five favorite Drew Barrymore performances of all time. So
Yeah,
definitely, if you love Drew Barrymore and aren't put off by the fact that she tried to freaking cross the picket line before that shit got shut down,
yeah.
definitely check out our chaos bracket right now. That is currently, as of this morning, second round just wrapped up, and we will be revealing the results here in a couple of days and airing the third round matchups Saturday night, Sunday morning. So stay tuned for that episode.
I still picture this being a Julia Sandra finals, but we'll
Oh, that
see.
wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Um, Only because I know which Drew Barrymore movies are left. I also know which Reese Witherspoon movies are left. And at the end of the day, nothing against Reese and Drew. I don't think they hold a candle to the movies that are left for both Sandy B and Julia Bob.
Julia Bob.
So, really quick,
Bob.
so that you can go evacuate your bladder. What's coming up on the SIP list?
Tomorrow our top 5 vampire characters will be dropping. So that was me and Casey and our friends from the Yeah podcast. And that was a good episode. So stay tuned for that. And then next week we will have top 5 movies about friendship from with our new friend Taylor, who just invented a card game called Quote Me Cards. And Chris, I wish we had had this when we went on our trip to Arizona because it would have been so much fun. It's a movie quote game. So if you're into movie quotes, definitely check that out, quotemecards.com. And yeah, that's what's coming up.
I flip off the camera when Amanda brings up that game, not because I hate the game, only because 2 weeks now in a row, CJ and I have played that on the bracket review show with Dre, and I've gotten my ass kicked twice in a row, and it's pissing me off. So,
Well, maybe you should be
but
better at movie quotes.
maybe good, maybe.
Ah,
So, definitely, like I said, coming up on an evening at the movies, we have the next round of our chaos bracket, as well as next week we will be kicking off Halloween Horror Fest with um, most of
Monsters.
most of Mount Sitmore and a cameo appearance by the other portion of Mount Sitmore. Hopefully, if she's up to it. So,
Yeah.
knock on wood. Hopefully, all
Love
four of us
you,
can be there.
Jean.
Yes, our hearts are with you, and we miss you, and we definitely all love you. So, definitely. But and if all the timing lines up right, Shannon will be with us on that as well.
For
We've
Monster
got
Squad.
yes for Monster Squad, not Kick 'em in the Nards, the Monster Squad. We have some other great horror movies coming up as well as some bonus stuff where we're going to talk about paranormal movies and their effect on cinema, um, as well as Sweeney Todd, the Hellraiser. Chancey's coming on for. I've given the girls a free pass on that. They don't have to be a
Yeah,
part of the
not
episode
doing
if they
Hellraiser.
don't. They don't want to. Chancey and I can cover that very easily. Amanda's gonna. Amanda has requested Buffy the Vampire Slayer, not the TV show, the movie. And we're going to semi live, well, not necessarily live, but there will be a need for spoiler alerts for our last episode of the month.
Mm,
Oh, I forgot. We also have a guest appearance from Gabby from Nightmare on Sedgwick Avenue doing From Dusk Till Dawn.
mm.
And then also, like I said, spoiler alert time. We will close out Halloween Horror Fest with Five Nights at Freddy's and our thoughts
Can't
on
wait.
that movie. The movie Buffy was superior. Didn't like the show.
I thought the show was okay, but I 100% agree the movie was amazing. They're just completely
Def,
different.
they definitely went down two different roads in
Yeah. Yes, I'm
the two
super
entities.
excited for FNAF, and hopefully, we will be having Kevin and Abby to review FNAF with us after we watch it. So, um,
Yes.
yes,
The plan is for all of us and then Kevin and Abs to be here. So uh, either way, shape, or form, you will have the three of us with one or two guests, one of the two. But we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that we have two guests for that episode. So we are booking out as of now. If you have ideas for movies for November, December, January, and February as well, request your movies. All movies will be honored and all of that. And I know Amanda's doing the bouncing back and forth pee pee dance in her chair. So it's time for me to turn the microphone over to her. And I just got warned I have 50% battery on my computer. So I need to do this so I can go take my computer in the other room and plug it in. So
what the 50?
Amanda, the floor is yours. Take us home.
All right. Thank you, everybody that watched and commented. We appreciate it, and that makes it so much more fun for us.
Yes,
And
definitely.
everybody that's listening, we appreciate you, and we hope you all come back for an evening at the movies. Goodbye.
Double piece and hair grease.
What?